Welcome to the Box Score. We're about halfway through the season. In fact, week 5 in the books. We've still got 6 more to go in the regular season. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair, and Murph, it's flying by.
It is. I think we decided last night that it won't officially be halfway over until we get to halftime on Friday night.
That is correct. Or Thursday night or Saturday night,
That's right.
with these teams that are playing. But it's been fun so far. The weather's been just picture perfect. I don't know that we could ask for any better weather, although that may change Friday night. We may have our warmest kickoff time of the season Friday night, and this is the 6th week of the regular season.
Well, we had some warm September evenings in years past, but that cool weather we experienced a couple of weeks ago has spoiled us a little bit, and it's going to be kind of tough to dig out the shorts and the tank tops for football on Friday night.
Let's go ahead and look at the recap of the local teams from last week. We got Whites Creek playing at Watertown. Watertown a big win, 32-0, really dominating the stats. Murphy only holding the Cobras to 42 yards. Really ran out to a big lead at half. And Watertown just kind of cruises to the win.
Yes, it looks as though Watertown's Purple Tigers keep improving, getting stronger and stronger each week, much more than the team we saw the first couple of games during the month of August. Coach Webster and his staff have done a really good job of getting those guys better every week.
You know, the way it looked early on, we thought Watertown, Charleston County, who's been the case in that region, battled for the championship. But it looks like it's going to be 2 new ones in East Robertson and Westmoreland. And, you know, is it officially set? No. But from the scores that we've seen thus far, you know, you're looking at Charleston County, who's sitting there at 0-5 right now. We'll get in the standings a little bit later, but there's a possibility they could miss the playoffs completely.
Yeah, that's right. It's that region has become much more competitive with different people, as you said, at the top, and it's getting a little more difficult to try and pick winners in that region during the regular season.
Definitely has. Let's look at DeKalb County and Cumberland County. DeKalb County gets the win, 48-13. Kobe Barnes, another huge game. Murphy, we say that week after week after week. 24 rushes, 272 yards. You know, when you average 12 yards a rush, you've not only run the ball good and you've got 4 touchdowns, the offensive line has got to be doing a tremendous job.
Well, they are. They've got some pretty good size. You know, we talked about Smith County's size being so over the top, so to speak, for a high school football team, but DeKalb's pretty good size up front, and to post that many points, even if it is against Cumberland County, that shows that that DeKalb County Upperman battle, which is not far away, may very well be for the regional title.
Of course, Briz Trapp, he's been out with the injury. Jordan Parker, 12 for 16, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. He is filling in very well.
Very well. That's 15 yards on a completed throw throughout the evening. So that I know Coach Trapp's got to be awfully proud of having those backups available when something happens.
And Malachi Trapp, you've seen him improve each week, and his numbers go up. 6 receptions for 95 yards. He's one of those players. If you're an opposing coach, if he gets the ball on a quick screen or whatever, you kind of hold your breath.
You know, Malachi is a name you don't hear very often, but here this season, we've got 2 Malachis we've been watching pretty strongly. The young man from Sparta, White County, is, I think what you said a couple of weeks ago was the leading rusher nationally at the high school level. That's pretty strong for a program that traditionally has struggled for quite some time now.
Let's go ahead and look at Gordonsville Lakeway Christian. That was a close game at half, 21-14. Gordonsville outscores the host up in Morristown, 21-0. Second half, County Musgrove, 16 rushes, 224 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is a tremendous night.
Yeah, it is, and I see where Matthew Albritton had a pretty good passing night, although they only threw the ball 5 times. That's very uncharacteristic for Gordonsville's Tigers, but when you can complete 80% of your passes, whatever the numbers are, that's got to be impressive.
Austin Schaefer, 15 rushes, 84 yards, a couple of touchdowns. You see Lakeway Christian's numbers there, but they just could not slow down the Gordonsville running game.
Now, that's a work in progress, that school. As we've mentioned before, a lot of folks thought they were going to do a much stronger job of recruiting kids out of the Knox County area. and that just hasn't happened.
The Owls go on the road to Class 5A Walker Valley, who has between 225 and 250 band members, and it looks like the pride of the Southland band at University of Tennessee. Best high school band, yes, I said it, Terry Collins, than Pearl Cone. 225, and when they performed, Murphy, they had homecoming festivities at halftime that were very lengthy. They performed after the game, and there was very few Walker Valley fans that left and did not watch that performance, which was just, I was in awe. It was that great.
Something very, very, very special is going on at Walker Valley. You told me what the facility looked like, right. Something more like you would be accustomed to seeing at the college level. Their coach is the son of Robert Akins, who used to coach at Boyd Buchanan and led that team to a state championship several years ago. But the newest high school in Bradley County, and those folks love their school. And from what you told me too, Walker Valley doesn't want any more of Smith County.
That's true. Talked to Coach Akins after the game. Caden Powell, a big night. 5 rushing touchdowns, 18 rushes, 128 yards. 2 for 4 in the air, 71 yards. Peyton Hicks, another tremendous night. 16 rushes, 158 yards. 1 reception, 41 yards, and for just the good of it, throw in 7 tackles too. Peyton Hicks is putting on a show.
For those of you who maybe have not seen this show before or seen numbers from Caden Powell, the quarterback at Smith County High School, keep this in mind. He's only a 9th grader. There's some big things on the immediate horizon for Smith County football with that young man, I do believe.
Of course, the Owls once again shut down the rushing attack. 16 rushes, 32 yards. So what did Walker Valley do? They went to the air a lot. Swartzel, 19 of 30, 219 yards. Also had some good rushes. But when you look, Tucker Olnby, outstanding receiver for them, 7 receptions, 91 yards, 3 touchdowns. It was a 5A school that's probably close enough enrollment-wise to go to 6A. It was a great atmosphere, but the Owls go there and pull out a huge win to go to 4-1.
A lot of pride in that rural community. The students from that school certainly come from Cleveland and Bradley Central. And that school's not really all that old, but to have the facility, the physical plant that you talked about, almost makes you want to just drive up there and look it over, you know.
2001, they opened. They played the Owls in 2002 in Carthage, the first ever meeting, and Jimmy Maynard's team in the first round of the playoffs beat them 48-7, so the Owls now hold a 2-1 advantage. They lost last year to Smith County.
But that was in triple overtime, right. Though. So the Owls, no reason, they don't, no surprise that Walker Valley doesn't want any more Smith County.
Let's go ahead and look at the Cannon County and Lookout Valley. Cannon County loses a heartbreaker, Murphy, 36-28 in overtime. Lookout Valley with Ferguson and Quails having a big day. Perkins, another big game for the Lions, 17 rushes, 136 yards and a touchdown. Then Kobe Miller, the quarterback, doing some good stuff, but still another heartbreaker. Seemed like we say that a lot against Cannon County when they lose.
You know those water parks where you see water shooting up through the sidewalk, so to speak, here, there, everywhere. It kind of seems like that would be a good way to describe Cannon County's football program right now. They get one matter fixed and a leak comes somewhere else, and they get that one taken care of and something happens somewhere else. And they're really struggling right now. They've got a pretty good football team, but they just don't seem to be able to put it all together for 4 solid quarters.
We'll take a look at the region scores when we return. We'll remind you, you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
2 delicious options, 2 convenient locations. So make the entire family happy with just one stop to KFC Taco Bell. Located at 501 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville and 105 East Broad Street in Smithville, we've got you covered at KFC Taco Bell, no matter the food craving. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, get in the car and kick that hunger to the curb with a quick visit to KFC Taco Bell. Located in Gordonsville and Smithville. Stop by today.
At DTC, we're proud to provide the communication and entertainment services you need to get the most from today's technology.
Earn a $25 bill credit for you and $25 for your favorite local school when you add or upgrade internet service or TV with DTC.
Get the technology you want, backed by local customer service from neighbors you know and trust. DTC Communications, your total communications provider.
And welcome back to the Box Score. Murphy Fair along with Terry Collins, Justin Malden turning all the buttons and making everything look right as he always does.
Just as a matter of clarification, that's Terry Collins. I'm Murphy Fair.
Murphy, you don't have to have ID. I do when I go places. Going with you is like going with, I don't know, a superstar, Mickey Mouse or Mickey Mantle or just whoever. I mean, it's a treat, especially when you and I used to go patrol the sidelines on these high school games. It was always a fun atmosphere to be in.
There's some good folks out there, and they've got good memories. They remember. I guess it's from seeing my picture at the post office all the time.
I guess that's right. Let's go ahead and look at our Sonic scores of Carthage. We appreciate Gordonsville and Smithville, KFC, Taco Bell bringing the graphics, and also Sonic of Carthage. Looking at these scores, Clay County a big win over Joe Burns. Red Bowling, a big win over North Green. Red Bowling getting on a little bit of roll, Murphy.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that team experience the victory every once in a while, much more so than they have in the past. Congratulations to everybody involved in that program. And Clay County winning big again. That's just making that showdown with Gordonsville at the end of the regular season that much more appetizing.
Week 11, that should be a good one. Smith County and East Nashville, and then Gordonsville and Clay County. It'd be hard for people decide if you were neutral and want to go see a good game. Do you go to Salina? Do you come to Carthage?
Well, Carthage is a lot closer.
Well, that's true. That is true.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and look at the region standings. Justin's got those for us, but when you look, Clay County, 174 points scored, only 12 allowed. Murphy, that's pretty impressive.
That's a field goal a game. That's all they're giving up in those 4 wins. That's, like you said, very impressive. But they've got some pretty incredible coaching staff. That's where Coach Maynard is, and Coach Dickerson, I think, is still up there as well, and Bruce Lamb, the head coach there. So got 3 former head coaches on that staff.
Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4-2A scores. Westmoreland, a big win over Charleston County, 42-0. East Robinson, a big win over Harpeth. No doubt those 2 teams, Murphy, on a collision course, you would think, for that region championship.
Sort of looking that way, and I understand the crowds in Hartsville, on the Hartsville side of the field, are getting to be pretty slim right now.
Of course, they go to Carthage to Al Stadium. Let's go ahead and look at the standings for Region 4-2A. And when you look, you got East Robinson and Westmoreland there on top, Harpeth and Watertown, and then down there at the bottom, you look at Trousdale County, something we're not used to seeing, but they're going to have to beat Whites Creek. They're going to have to beat Harpeth if Trousdale County is going to try to get, and then maybe Watertown to try to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be get off the fence one way or the other for Hartsville to get into the postseason this year.
Looking at the Region 4-3A scores, you got Sequatchie County over Grundy, Giles County over Community. Murphy, you and I thought Giles and Sequatchie would be, as we look at the standings, the cream of the crop in that region, and that's kind of how it's played off. When you look at the Region 4-3A standings, I don't know, and this is nothing against Cannon or Community or Grundy, but it seems to be, with those teams really struggling this year, that it's easily going to be Sequatchie or Giles 1, the other one 2, and really not being challenged.
No, I think most of the scripts have already been written insofar as what you were just talking about there. And I think, obviously, I'd like to see Cannon, pick up a win against Community and Grundy and settle that score. But it'll be interesting to see how that Sequatchie-Giles County game goes, to see who the actual regional champion is. Sequatchie's kind of coming on strong a little bit better, although Giles has, I think, played a much more difficult schedule too.
Giles is probably the favorite to win that ball game, no doubt. But, upsets happen. That's the reason we play them every Friday night. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 5 3A scores. Of course, we talked about Smith County's big win on the road at Walker Valley, Maplewood over Stratford, East Nashville over Jackson County. Stratford has struggled, Jackson County has struggled. As we look at the standings for Region 5 3A, of course, East Nashville sitting there at 2-0, and Murphy, they look the part. They look as if they're strong enough to make another run. The state championship game is what they did a year ago and brought home a runner-up honors.
Yeah, and it may be one of those situations where East Nashville and Smith County face each other twice this season. They're obviously the best teams in that particular region. I can't remember exactly who's in Region 6 3A. Is that going to be Fairview?
That's White House and Fairview.
Yeah,
yes.
And that region doesn't look terribly strong to me. I've seen a couple of those games on TV, and I think Smith County could handle any of those teams over there, as can East Nashville.
Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 4A scores. Macon County big over Livingston. Livingston continuing to struggle. Stone Memorial, an upset, what I consider Murphy beating Upperman 15-14.
Yeah, Upperman lost the week before to Fayetteville, and I'm just wondering if they were kind of licking their wounds a little bit after that one, maybe had their heads down. I sure didn't see that one coming. But Stone Memorial's probably got a better football team than we might have thought. I think they only have one loss right now. And I know Derek Samber has got to be awfully proud of his kids up there.
Let's look at the Region 4 4A standings, saying that.
Oh, they're undefeated.
And Macon both undefeated at 5-0. DeKalb with just the one loss at 4-1. Upperman sitting there at 3-2. Cumberland County and Livingston kind of on the outside looking in. But still, I think those top four teams, Murphy, there's probably not a whole lot of difference in those four clubs.
No, I think that it's just going to be one of those situations where who's hot and who's not on any given night.
That should be the case, as I'd say that, Macon and Stone, that's not a lock that they're going to play for the region championship, because there's still some very important games, although Macon does have that win over DeKalb County. Let's look at some notable games, some scores. Mount Juliet, a big win over White County, 45-43. And, when you look at the kid from, I don't know what his stats were from White County, but he was leading the nation in
rushing yards.
And I'm sure he had another huge game, probably 200 or 300 yards to go with that, you would think, with the score being that big. Coffee County, an upset win over Lebanon. Siegel had beaten them the week before. Oakland big over Siegel. And then Silverdale upsets Gary Rankin's team. And Silverdale had a good club, Murphy. I don't want to take anything away from them. But they win at 28-21 over Boyd Buchanan.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would have picked Silverdale, myself included, although, like you said, pretty good football team, especially the last 2 or 3 years. The one up there that maybe surprised me the most is the Coffee County win over Lebanon. Doug Green has done a really good job of turning that program around. He was an assistant at Ottawa, if I'm not mistaken, but had been an assistant at Coffee County as well before moving a little farther east in the state, and now back in Manchester. I think this is his 3rd year there, and he's got people in Manchester pretty excited about Red Raider football right now, that's for sure.
Look at the Region 4 1A games are coming up. A big one, Coalfield undefeated 5-0 at Gordonsville. Coalfield, though, hadn't played very stiff competition, Murph.
Certainly not up to the teams that Gordonsville have gone up against already, but Coalfield with another traditionally strong many-decade football program, and I think that I might have to go watch that one. That could be a pretty good ball game at Kearney.
East Robinson at Joe Burns, you'd think East Robinson rolls big, but right there's a great football game in northern Sumner County, Clay County at Westmoreland.
Clay County, Westmoreland, boy, that's going to be a shootout because they're both pretty good football teams. Clay County, I think, still undefeated. maybe with one loss. I can't remember for sure off the top of my head, but a very good football team that could go very deep in the playoffs, I think.
Of course, Westmoreland, a narrow loss to Smith County and Macon County, and then Red Bowling Spring at Whitwell. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 2A games that are coming up. Upham at Watertown, which we talked about, Clay County at Westmoreland. Trousdale at Smith, usually that's a headbanger, but with Trousdale County being 0-5 and only 28 players on the roster, Murph, the Owls are kind of, hopefully laying in wait.
It'll be interesting to see how Coach Dyer handles that situation, because he came to Carthage from Trousdale County as an assistant coach over there, maybe in their middle school program. But he's got black and gold blood running through his veins. I mean, he's gone up against those Trousdale County teams when he was in high school, and if I'm not mistaken, when he was playing, I think Smith County beat Trousdale County a time or two.
They did. In fact, Matt intercepted one and ran it back about 80 or 90 yards, got tackled about 5, and I told him, I said, I guess you've got your dad Pat speed, but anyway, it's been a long time ago. East Robertson at Joe Burns, Cheatham County at Whites Creek, Harpeth at McEwen. Looking at the Region 4 3A games coming up, Sequatchie at Bledsoe, and Murphy, that's a border war, and it's always a big rivalry.
Yeah, and even though Sequatchie's record and Bledsoe's record would lead you to believe that was Sequatchie all the way in that one, it wouldn't surprise me if Bledsoe pulled an upset there. They've got they've played some pretty good games this year. They're kind of hard to predict how they're going to do on Friday night.
Page at Giles County, that should be a great game as well.
Not a regional game, but Page, as you know, went to the finals and lost in the 5A game to a very, very good Powell football team. But I don't know if you happened to see Page on TV out of the national network this past week. They've got stars and stripes and everything on their uniforms to let you know that they're very patriotic over there.
Grundy County at Franklin County, Community at Cascade. Looking at the Region 5 3A, Charleston County at Smith, East Nashville, Independence. Murphy, I think this is going to be a great measuring stick to see just how good East Nashville is.
Yeah, and how good Independence could be. They've got one player a big tight end kid who had committed to Ohio State. He's changed his mind and he's going to go to Alabama.
Right.
Or something like that. Anyway, pretty good kid, pretty nice kid, a good football player too. But I think, like you said, you hit it on the head when you said measuring stick to judge how both of those teams are going to be.
Maplewood at Friendship, Jackson County at Livingston, a big border war there. Hunters Lane at Stratford. Let's go ahead and look at the 4-4A games. Portland at Macon County, Jackson at Livingston. On Thursday, Upham at Watertown, Polk County at Cumberland, Stone Memorial at York. Any of those, Murph?
The Portland-Macon County game is the one that really interests me. Portland's a pretty good football team this year, and Kyle Shoulders has got Macon County playing just about as well as you could expect over the last several years. I think that's a border war too, kind of the Battle of Highway 52, and I think it'll be a great game.
Of course, Westmoreland's already beaten Portland earlier this year. We'll have an interview with Watertown Athletic Director Eric Trusty when we return. As we remind you, you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com.
Opioid overdoses continue to claim lives in Tennessee. Naloxone, an opioid reversal drug, can save lives. Call the Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition for a free, quick, and confidential training. Also, If you are struggling with substance use disorder due to your alcohol and drug use, help is only a phone call away. Call the Tennessee Red Line. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master, certified, and experienced heavy-duty maintenance techs, maintenance supervisor, entry-level and experienced miners and exploration infill drillers, grade operator, electricians, laboratory and metallurgical technician, senior metallurgist, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
We've got Eric Trusty, the new athletic director at Watertown High School. Eric, first of all, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me on, y'all.
I know that you're a person I'm very familiar with. We won't talk about T-ball and how many years that's been ago that you and your siblings played, but Eric, to watch you evolve from what I consider to be a kid, and yes, that makes me old, but still to be involved with sports like you and I are, especially now that it's your job. I know you're a teacher as well. It's pretty rewarding to watch these athletes on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Growing up playing athletics, you mentioned my brothers and all of us playing. I kind of got away with it for a while. I went to Mount Juliet High School and taught there for years and had the opportunity to get a little bit closer to home. And, Mr. Brown, we taught last year and brought me in here. So I'm glad to kind of be back in the athletic world. I forgot how much I missed it till I kind of got back into it. But no, I am extremely proud to be at Watertown and happy.
How tough was it coming from Gordonsville, being in the shadow, I guess you could say, of your two brothers? Of course, that makes some great ball games, I'm sure, on Club Springs Road. But when you look at that, you be the younger brother, and I know how competitive your brothers are on a first-hand basis, and I'll just leave it at that. But to have that fire, I guess, of wanting to win and playing against them, even as a youngster, that had to be pretty rewarding. I know y'all have got a good relationship now, and of course your mom and dad still live over there on Club Springs Road, and I see them occasionally. But I know, being in that environment really had to help.
Oh yeah, definitely. Growing up with Dennis and Carrie, who were both great athletes at Gordonsville, and I'm not going to say I have anything special because I wasn't. I had played with some really good teams, really good coaches. Coaching with playing for Coach Wills, who Kerry played for, and then moving on to Bob Dillard. They had big influences on me growing up. Living kind of in the shadow of two other brothers in Gordonsville, it was good. Everybody knew it, but being around them my whole life, they're still my heroes, and that's who I look up to. So that's where I learned kind of the competitive streak.
Coach, Terry and I have been around sports an awful long time. It's probably going to date us a little bit here, but I know when I first came to Carthage, for example, at the Courier, it seemed at that time in the mid-'70s that the main responsibility of the athletic director was, number one, to keep the fans happy, and number two, keep the coaches happy. But that has evolved into a much grander responsibility now with all the paperwork you guys have to deal with. What do you think is probably the most difficult part of your job as an athletic director?
At the old school I worked at, the athletic director used to always complain to me all the time about all this stuff he had to do, and I'd always aggravate him. Stepping into this role, especially for the first time ever being an athletic director, I kind of understand. I actually called him back and said, hey, I will apologize the whole time I kind of aggravated you about it. Being assistant principal on top of this, it's a big responsibility. I'm lucky that I work here at Watertown. Mr. Brown's a great, reference point when I need help. Mr. Hill, the previous athletic director, we worked for years together at Mount Juliet, so we have a good relationship. So I kind of had him on the speed dial, trying to learn everything. But, the hardest part is just making sure that I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure that the coaches and the players and the parents get everything that they need to make this program successful. And it's pretty much self-run. We have great people here. So I mean, as of right now, the toughest part is just kind of learning the new position. And but I have great people that I work with, great coaches, great players, and parents. So it hasn't been too bad at the moment.
Eric, when you look at your facilities, I think they're second to none for not only the classification you're in, but for any school. You have a great layout there at Watertown with the football field, your tennis courts, your wrestling area, your softball field, your soccer field, your baseball field. All of that is just, I don't know that I could lay it out any better. I mean, it's just, it's tremendous. I know I was in the gym here and sat with Coach Brown. I still call him Coach Brown, your principal, during the volleyball game, and everything was so clean. And, that just doesn't happen. People don't realize that. Those fields don't just maintain themselves. They have to be maintained, and I know that's a big part of what the athletic director has to do.
Hey, I'm not taking any credit for that. That's Mr. Ed Roberts. He's the reason why these fields look the way they do. And I agree. When I came here to interview, Mr. Brown walked me around and showed me the fields. I was just in awe about how professional these fields look. I know Coach Purvis is up there every day. It's almost 365 of that baseball field. Everything here is immaculate. It's all Ed Roberts. It has nothing to do with me. He'll call me and tell me this is what we need and whatever I can get for him. To make it look great, we do it. But yeah, I'm very blessed to be in a place where it looks so professional. Most of these places even look better than some of the colleges and minor leagues. Like he does an excellent job. I can't, we're so fortunate to have him here to make sure these fields are maintained and look as great as they can.
As the job has evolved there, Eric, as athletic director, so has Watertown High School. It's come a long, long way since the 70s and 80s with your new facility there. And obviously, Terry and I were looking at enrollment figures, for example, yesterday. And you guys are not far from being a 3A school.
Yeah, our numbers we turned into the state were 681. That's where we're officially at the moment. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I remember, growing up in Watertown, not much bigger than Gordonsville. And I mean, that was always a big rivalry between us. But yeah, as the numbers rise, as the county's growing all the way around, and, Watertown's being affected by that also. But, it still has that small town feel, even though we're a little bit bigger. The hallway's a little bit more fuller than what they're used to. But, yeah, no, it's a special place. And, like I said, that's one thing I was drawn, kind of get back to that small town feel, and it definitely has. It's nice to kind of be back in that.
Eric, you had to enjoy the fact that the Board of Control votes to leave everything as is for 2 more years, because if that had been the case, then you'd be moving classification, you'd be moving regions, you may at least go up to 3A, and you don't know for sure where once those numbers, but still you're going to stay in the 2A region that you're in. Yes, it's pretty spread out, but still makes things a little bit easier for you because you probably don't have to look for as many games and trying to play basically the same people in football as you were.
Yeah, definitely. That was one of the first things we kind of talked about when I came in, is the movement of the classifications. The possibility of moving to 3A. We even talked about, well, did we jump to 4A? And just to have some better matchups and all that. So, yeah, we're really fortunate about it. We had AD meetings yesterday in Cookville, and Coach Webster and I, he's also helping with athletic director position. We were just kind of discussing some of the things that could happen and all that. But, yeah, it's nice to, have – we want these local rivalries. We feel like it's better for the school, better for them, better for the crowd, the fans. You have to kind of have that rivalry where everybody's close. And, when you have to drive to Nashville and they have to drive here, it doesn't have the same feel. So we're hoping, however it goes in the future, that we'll kind of have those local rivalries that that I feel like the community needs and the areas around here needs.
In talking with some of the people at Tbilisi, these 14 districts are kind of going to be abolished. And of course, that's one of the things that right now that Watertown and Westmoreland and Smith County and Cannon County are part of in basketball. They're wanting to get that to a 5 or 6 team, at least district or maybe even region. What's your views on that quickly?
I mean, just like I said, it's just making it more local. You know, I've heard that was kind of one of the decisions to get teams closer to each other, and that's a big thing, especially with basketball. We were traveling so much during the winter time. It just makes it more fun, more interesting when you're driving someplace that's fairly close with people and just having those rivalries.
Well, Eric Trusty, we appreciate you visiting with us, a former Gordonsville alum, and we appreciate you taking time, and good luck in your first year as AD at Watertown.
I appreciate it.
Okay, we'll look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week when we return, and we'll also get Murphy's picks on the matchups when we return, as you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
So, go check it out.
Deterring crime. It's the first job of a home security system from DTC Security. For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started. Let us help protect your home.
So?
A lot of nice stuff and an alarm.
Don't delay. Call DTC Security now or visit us online.
Don't be fooled. Vaping is just another way to deliver nicotine to your lungs. Learn the facts and escape the vape. We get it. Quitting is hard, but getting help is easy. Call the Tennessee Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW for free counseling and cessation patches. Sign up for the free Tennessee Tobacco Quit Line program and let us help you quit for good. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master, certified, and experienced heavy-duty maintenance techs, maintenance supervisor, entry-level and experienced miners and exploration infill drillers, grade operator, electricians, laboratory and metallurgical technician, senior metallurgist, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to The Box Score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. We appreciate our fine title sponsor, Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. We're going to take a look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week. It's over in Woodbury this week, Murph, somewhere you're pretty close to. And it's DeKalb County, Cannon County, and it's always a big rivalry. I don't want to say a hated rivalry, but an intense rivalry, I guess is
friendly rivalry, maybe, whatever. Yeah, DeKalb has kind of controlled that over the years, but I think the Cannon program is making some strides in the right direction. It'll be interesting to see what kind of game plan Coach Daniel has for the guys from Woodbury.
Coach Trapp and his team, as we look at the series history, pretty one-sided. They lead the all-time series 32-5-1, started back in 1963. 39th meeting between the two teams, and DeKalb has won 14 in a row, Murph. That's a pretty dominating. Cannon did win the one game on the field back in 2018, but that was later forfeited. Cannon County last won when it counted in 2007. That was a 26-23 win in Smithville. DeKalb County 17-1-0 all-time versus Cannon County and Smithville. And Cannon County only beaten DeKalb County twice since the 1967 season, and that was there was one tie involved in that as well.
Yep, I dare say there'll be a good crowd at that game. Should be a good gate game, I think, and hopefully we'll have nice weather and should be a nice night to get out and see a pretty good football game.
Well, I will give kudos to people at Woodbury. They have an excellent concession stand. So
awesome.
Go on out and see them. Of course, there's several places you can stop. I'd say Highway, 53, will be pretty busy between Liberty and Woodbury on Friday night.
No doubt. Be careful out there on the roadways.
That's for sure. Let's go ahead and look at some of Murphy's picks. Murphy, I know this is going to be tough, but we got Coalfield at Gordonsville.
Well, that's one of those got to go with. And I know a lot of people in the Coalfield community too, but not near as many as I do in Gordonsville. I'm going to have to go with the Blue Tigers on 34th Field.
Do you think that game is even close, Murph, to be honest with you?
Maybe for a little while. Coalfield's got a great, rich program up there. They've had a lot of tragedies insofar as losing coaches over the last 10 or 15 years, one to cancer and one to COVID, actually, or COVID and other things as well. But a really fun place to go and watch a football game. I really miss Gary Chris, who was there for a long, long time, a former UT great, and still think about him an awful lot. He was a really good person, and lots of folks up there still missing his presence on the football field.
Next one, Upperman at Watertown.
Well, I think Upperman is tired of putting marks in the loss column. I'm sure Coach Kane got on those kids pretty hard this past week. And that one's going to be a tough one for Watertown, I think, because Upperman's a team that a lot of folks thought would be in the 4A Blue Cross Bowl, and here they've lost 2 in a row to teams that were of smaller class.
Charleston County at Smith County at Owl Stadium in Carthage.
The only question is the point spread. I think Smith County wins that one big, and it'll be interesting to see how many fans are on the Charleston County side of the field.
DeKalb County at Cannon County and their Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week on DTC Sports.
Well, DeKalb's is the better team this year, as obviously they have been in years past. And as much as I hate to say that, I need to get my average up a little bit better. So I'm going to go with the visiting Tigers in that one.
Murph, when you look, I know we are approaching, as we said, the halfway point of the season. You know, I think the teams that, are kind of shaking out. Only a couple of region games and still 2 or 3 region games to go. But I think it's pretty evident in some of these, by looking at some of these scores, who those teams are going to contend for that region championship are going to be.
I think so, and not only that, but even who's going to contend for 3rd or 4th round action in the playoffs. The pictures are starting to get a whole lot clearer. Last week was my best week in picking games all across the state. I was just a hair under 80%. And that's the first time I've been close to that mark this year. So, and I think this week's games in particular, I didn't have to take very long time at all going through those 150 or 60 games picking winners. It seemed to be a pretty easy pick for this week.
Murphy, when you look, I know that it's seasonally warm for this time of year. That's got to concern coaches because usually by this time of the year, you know, you're in the 60s, low 70s, high 60s at kickoff time, and that's not going to be the case probably on Friday night.
No, we had warm weather all the way through September and maybe even the 1st or 2nd game in October last year and the year before, but that's not going to be the case now. We're back into the 90s during the day, and it's still going to be mid to upper 80s. And the thing about it is there's so many turf fields, maybe not in our immediate area, but so many turf fields, and it takes those things a little while to cool off after a sunshiny 95-degree day.
Well, and you look at no rain that we've seen the last week or 2, and so those fields are really drying out. Of course, they've got watering systems, but still, I don't think you got to worry about playing in the mud.
No, that's a good thing, especially this time of year.
And that'll be about all we've got. As we remind you, you're watching The Box Score. We appreciate our listeners. We appreciate our sponsors. For Justin Mauldin and Murphy Ferry, I'm Terry Collins. Good night from The Box Score.